Hello, friends. Just another run-of-the-mill March game in a lost season that means nothing as the Flames play out the stretch, and we can go over some draft prospects tonight.
Not so much.
Or not. We were all wrong. It is Afterburner. My name is Ryan Pinder. There's Kent Wilson, the godfather of FlamesNation.ca, I believe. Kent, good evening to you. How are you? We mentioned before we got on air, a much more entertaining finish than start and a wild victory for the Calgary Flames in overtime.
Yeah, the first, 15 minutes of that game, maybe even the first 40 minutes, felt like it's going to be a 2-1. Grind it out. Whoever scores 2 is going to win. But yeah, it turned into quite the contest in the third.
Welcome to Afterburner. It is a presentation of Bet365. Life's never ordinary. Get that app and use the code NATION when you do. Also, we'll be accepting super chats throughout the program. What is a super chat? It is, of course, when you add a dollar figure to your comment, and it'll jump into the screen. We'll play it for you. We'll read it for you. We'll talk about it for you. And the money will indeed go to the Youth Centers of Calgary, a great local charity helping the lives of at-risk youth. And hey, safe place to go after school. Maybe read a book, learn an instrument, get a hot meal, play some games with some pals, whatever it is. It's all happening at the Youth Centers of Calgary. Kent, this was an incredible finish to this hockey game. The Flames, for as much of the possession as they had early and as many shots as they were blocking, as many Dustin Wolf saves as they had, 1-1 and 2-1 turned around real quick from that Flames 1-0 lead early in the first. Klapka scored, and it was like, the fourth line he's even scoring. It's the Flames night for sure. But it took until the final stages of the third period, and for the third consecutive game, a third period comeback victory for the Calgary Flames, as it was a huge goal from Nazem Kadri to tie it. We thought we had a winner from Rasmus Anderson on the other side of a melee, but Jordan Eberle pokes one in late, and Kadri again in overtime. A thriller at the Dome, to be sure, albeit most of the thrills coming late in the third.
Yeah, I'll take that over no thrills at all, especially at this point in the season. And, the Flames looked kind of cooked not too long ago, maybe a week, 10 days ago. It was feeling like you might be more likely to tank and get a top 10 pick. And then they reel off 4 straight, and all of a sudden they're still in it, even with St. Louis being one of the hottest teams in the league right now.
Yeah, I believe St. Louis won their 7th in a row tonight. We'll look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll get to the updated standings. It is 4 wins in a row for the Flames. I'm looking at the math here. They did score 4. It's also 3 games in a row they've scored 4 goals. They've done that once in the 17 games prior to doing it 3 games in a row. It certainly isn't their cup isn't runneth over with goals, but they are coming a little more regularly of late. And I think some of the new lines have been a big part of that. I think Frost, Coronato, and Huberdeau have really found a groove together. I think Frost looked his best since they put that line together. Out of necessity with Backlund gone, but I think you've got to feel good about these groups the Flames are rolling right now.
Yeah, at least the top 2 lines. They seem to be generating something. They seem to have some chemistry going on. Third line, there's just a lot of cardio going on with those guys right now. I think
back, that'll change that, Kent, because I don't think Igor at center is the natural fit. You get Backlund, Farabee, Coleman. We actually saw that line play very well before they went out on that big road trip before the injury. So I like their top 9 a lot if they can get Backlund back soon. And to be frank, they're going to need it. Their next 3 games, which we'll get to, all 3 theoretical cup contenders. Thoughts on the game tonight? Takeaways, impressions? I know we're all still sort of slack-jawed that they're in this thing, but more than that, they've won 4 in a row, and they still control their own destiny.
It's very up and down. We're starting to see some guys defrost a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you said, you see Frost kind of becoming something now. It's taken a little while for him to find his legs here in Calgary. Coronato's really come back to life, especially after that New York swing. He kind of had a bit of a dip there for a few weeks. And I think Zeri's starting to pop up here and there again. Like he really impressed me before his injury this year, and then since getting back, it's been a little slower too. But you see some of those guys coming up, which is why you're starting to score 3 to 4 goals a night and not 1.5, right?
Right. And you know what? It was interesting. The suspension for Zary seemed to coincide with him returning back and playing better, because coming back from injury until the suspension,
Yeah,
and they really
nothing really
he
there.
got back after the suspension, and he's been on a nice little run. Like Coronato's been very good. Zary's been good. Wolf, we've said it all. I feel like the Calder is going to go to whoever gets in the playoffs. If Montreal and Calgary both do, I don't know how voters are going to do things, but if only one gets in, that's who wins the Calder. That's my mind there.
Yeah, that's a fair prediction. We'll see how the rest of the games go. And I mean, if Wolf reels off 5 shutouts at the end of the year, that type.
Sure.
If either of them do something remarkable, but you're right, it's going to be neck and neck, I think, and depending on who gets there.
Let's watch some of the action here. We'll start with the Klapka goal, which was a big one because there was not a lot of action in the opening 40, but there he was. He actually
So often he flashes those hands. You're like, where did that come from?
Yeah, and they will have some interesting decisions ahead if Backlund returns to health. I don't want to push that like it's going to happen, but he did skate yesterday, and it might have been this morning. Either way, if he's back, I think Igor probably is your best bet to go to the fourth line. And now you're looking, okay, Lomberg, Klapka, is it Rooney at center? He is a center, although they do have Seravalli playing center. So that decision looms. It was game number 100 for Coronato tonight. Just a thought on the draft pick. I know it was a lost season with Daryl Sutter at the helm, and he refused to play their shitty backup. What was it? The broccoli and pork, not the best. The longtime backup around the league, and it was like, no, we're going to ride Markstrom, and sure enough, there at 12 was Sillinger, who everyone, it's the guy. He's a Prairie kid. Flames pick 13. Coronato is a lovely consolation prize, and at this exact moment, he's the better player.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, when you saw him, not this year, but the year before come up, you definitely saw the offensive instincts that were there, and you definitely saw the release, but there was a lot lacking in his game. Like his skating probably wasn't up to par. His strength wasn't quite there defensively. Not there at all. And I understood completely why he started in the AHL this year. And then when he came back up, different player, right?
Yeah, it didn't last
he's
long.
A better skater, and he is a great all-around player this year. Like, that's a huge step forward.
It is. Yeah, I like that they stapled him to Backlund and Coleman, I think, at the end of last year, and he played there a bunch to start the year. The defensive side of the puck's gotten really good. And when you add that to the guy's elite tool, which is the shot, now he's playing up the lineup. It's been Kadri and he and Huberdeau. Now it's he and Frost and Huberdeau. Like he's probably their best bet to score from distance. I mean, Kadri, Sharangovich last year, there's not a lot of guys that can blow it past the goalie from the top of the circle, but he's one of them.
And it's great to have that tool, but I really like the development of the overall player right now, because when I saw him, as a kid, you'd think that guy can score 30 as long as he can play and get enough ice time, right? And that's always the question with a guy who's not too big and not too fast, but you can see that he can play in the top 6 capably and against other good players, right? And that's where you start to get enough ice time where you're a 30 goal scorer.
Second period was all Seattle. Schwartz, who seems to always be good against the Flames, makes it 1-1 from Burakovsky and McCann. Then Cartier, who I think played very early on in his career last year against the Flames. And you're like, geez, this guy's a ball of muck, and he's scoring. And he did it again against the Flames. Vinny Dunn gets the helper. That with 1:18 left in the second. Oof. Then it was the Flames getting back at it late in the third. Now, there was the big fracas, and I believe that followed the Kadri goal, but the goal that ties it, this is a massive, massive opportunity for the Flames. A double minor penalty to Monty. Frost gains the line. He's been so good at that in the man advantage. Huberdeau finds the open man, and Kadri, when it's this.
Yeah, he's been in the spotlight recently, and as I was saying before we got on air, like, I didn't love Kadri in the first half of the season. His underlying numbers were quite awful. Actually, in the first 20, no player was being outshot or outscored more, but he has really turned it around in the latter half here.
Been great. The last 2 iterations of the top line, Coronato, he and Huberdeau for a long time, and now he's got Pospisil back and engaged playing with Zary. He's a massive piece for this team. And I understand that when that signing was made, it was not with the hopes of squeaking in game 82, but to get playoff hockey for Nazem Kadri. That was the goal of this thing. He's pulling the rope. That they're still got a good chance at it.
Yeah, you can definitely tell he doesn't want to lose, right? He doesn't want to go into another off season without seeing some playoff games. So he's doing everything he can to make it happen.
That made it 2-2. Then the chaos ensued. We had Pospisil looked like he kind of sprayed the goalie. This is when the internet went down here, but I had to zip through it. It looks like Pospisil sprays the cord. Kadri comes in, bit of pushing and shoving. He and Montour to the deck pretty quick after shedding mittens. Coincidentals everywhere. And after that was all settled, Flames didn't wait long to pounce. I love it. It shows the personality. Rasmus has got a little bleep you to his game, and
yeah,
it's not for everyone. I think Jackie, you start, but he had 3 assists with Uyghur out on the weekend, and that's a huge goal there.
Yeah, the Flames could have used a bit more of that midway through the season, as you said. But yeah, he's putting some points together, which is nice. Recently, I think he and Ball got exposed a little bit tonight, and actually the Flames blue line does have some issues when they're facing fast skaters. There's not a lot of great skaters on the Flames blue line, so I think Red Seattle have 4 breakaways, I think, this evening. And they have that sort of pretty good transition game. So I mean they split the defense 3 times, I think, tonight.
Yeah, okay. So I got Wolf breakaway save on Montour when he comes out of the box. There was the bobbled failed breakaway early, like one of the first shifts of the game. Like you're right. They were more leakier than you'd want them to be defensively. And Seattle does score. They're a crafty team, if not a complete team. Like they're top half league in goals, which I guess didn't surprise me, but they're not your typical bottom of the standings team.
Well, what I saw tonight was they're not sort of overwhelming in terms of possession or zone time, but when they got looks, they were always really good. Like they had a bunch of grade A chances tonight, right?
Yeah, fair enough. That made it 3-2. It looked like, okay, there it is. Great night at the Dome. Tuck in the 2 points, but hang on, Wolf, on those scrambles. But you credit Eberle, and all of a sudden, with less than 2 to play, with exactly 90 seconds to go, tie game again.
Yeah, which shouldn't surprise me because usually I think 50% of the time I'm on Afterburner. It's an
Is that right? Game, so we do have some Afterburner stats I'm going to drop on you. We've got winning percentages for all participants. So
okay, I'd like to hear that.
Ours will need to be updated, but stay tuned for that one tonight. Yep. As it's a bit of a pipe bomb. I don't know what he was doing at one of the intermissions, but he had time to find everyone's points percentage or winning percentage in terms of the Afterburner hosts, which that's the kind of content you can't find anywhere else, Kent. Let's get to the real root. Yeah, let's get to the root of the issue. Who was hosting that night? And the grumpiest of them all actually has a pretty good points percentage. So stay tuned for that. Off to overtime we go. Great chance for Kadri stopped, and then another one late. Let's go to it. It was as good as it gets for drama and a finish. Here.
So it looks like be him and Huberdeau. So
question.
that was a good overtime though. Both teams had some looks. You got that Wolf massive save on that Dunn chance right before the breakaway for the goal. So
that's true. Another break. Unreal. Wolf again, excellent. Coronato draws 2 assists. I was going to note it on the Anderson goal, but Coronato's in there on the faceoff because he's a right shot. That's his pull side. He did play some center at Harvard his final year there, which I think would be his sophomore season, if I'm correct. But that's what they're doing a lot on the power play. And when it's ozone right side, they're using him on the dot. And that sets up Rasmus for the goal. And I mean, it's smart if it works, but the point is he can actually win it. That's his pull side. He's been good at it. And that just another layer to the Coronato love. He's taken some big draws for this club. Power plays, and that one that directly leads to the goal from Rasmus Anderson. I got to find Coronato here and see what he was on the dot tonight. They credit him 2 for 3 or 1 for 3. So there it is. The one he won was the one I'm talking about.
It's the one that mattered.
Apparently. Nazem Kadri was goal number 300, the winner in overtime, 299 that tied it. I thought we've kind of, I don't want to circle too much on this, but I keep seeing in the comments, where are the Kadri haters? Where are the Kadri haters? Where are the Kadri haters? Hi, my name is Ryan Pinder. I didn't like Nazem Kadri's Daryl Sutter year in Calgary. And I don't think that means I'm a Nazem Kadri hater, but I worried about how invested is he? How bad is it between him and the coach? And since that's resolved, he's been a much better player. I probably did tell you he didn't like the first 10 games of last year. Then he had them dress up like Hicks for the outdoor game. And the moment after that, it all changed. I think it was in Seattle. They put him and the youngsters together, Zeri and Pospisil. And since then, he's been a guy that I viewed differently as a absolute leader, as a clutch player, as a when the games get harder, he gets better guy. That's not what we saw under Daryl in year one. And it wasn't what we saw in the first 10 games of last year before they called up the kids. And I don't know who ignited who, but it doesn't matter anymore. They've all moved around. And what we have now is Pospisil, an everyday NHLer, Zeri, a very productive middle six player at worst. And Nazem Kadri is the number one center on a hockey club that might make the playoffs this year, on track for 30 goals. It's an incredible bounce back couple seasons, because I don't know that you could have moved his deal after that first year with Daryl Sutter. 6 left. He's already in his 30s. Oh, goodness. But it's been excellent seasons back to back for the counting stats. And here in games that matter, not in a lost season, he's been one of their best players. I think it's over a point per game in his last 19 games was the stat I think Bobby Germany had.
Yeah, that's right. And it makes you wonder what the path forward looks like for the team and the player, because as when he plays like this, he is a tradable asset. So do the Flames hang on to the guy that he is, since he's sort of becoming a leader on the team, or do they and the player investigate, what can we get for this guy in the next couple of years, given this level of performance, right? It's not an easy decision to make.
No, and I think we need more info. I think you need to know if you're a playoff team, because I think that's what Nazem signed here to be. And I think if he believes they can be a playoff team like he does right now, that's great. And whereas if you lose 5 in a row and you pick in the top 10, you might go draft your center of the future. And Nazem might say, I don't know if this is what I signed up for. I don't think he's asking out. I don't want to suggest that. But if this player and this team remain competitive, you're just opening a hole if you move him. Now, you can tell me the long game, but you've got Dustin Wolf now. And this owner isn't really, let's just spend 5 years building something. That's not really how he's rolled. They often, if they miss on anything, they think they're closer than they are. I'm pretty skeptical it happens unless the bottom falls out on this team at some point.
Yeah, and you're probably right. I've got a piece coming up in the Calgary Herald here pretty soon where I said, because of Wolf, the Flames and Craig Conroy are kind of facing a crossroads they didn't expect, right? Because the path forward was pretty obvious before Wolf comes in, has a Calder season, and suddenly makes them a playoff bubble team. So do you commit to that rebuild path anyways and just keep shedding veterans, adding futures, and waiting to get better? Or do you decide, let's try to do something now? And so you've got to start adding guys through UFAs and trades and, double down.
Yeah, and I think there's no pressure or timeline on a Kadri decision, so I don't think anyone wants to rock the boat on either side. It's working, right? No, it doesn't mean it's going to work when he's 36, 37, 38, whatever the last 3 years of the deal are. But the real pressing issue is Rasmus Andersson. I want to circle back. He's been much better of late, but a quiet middle half, we noted. He is heading into his UFA season. I think you got to take calls this summer as you talk extension. And unless there's a number there that you love, I just feel like with the cap growing the way that it is and seeing some of the numbers that defensemen are getting, I don't know that they're going to end up on the same page on what an extension's worth, because I think he's going to be looking for max term, and he'll be 30 the first year of the deal.
Yeah, I mean, he's been relatively underpaid on this contract. So this is a guy who's going to look for a retirement deal, as he should, right? It makes total sense.
Last payday. This is your chance.
Yeah, and he will get calls if he goes to free agency in the summer. So I know that I've heard that he likes the organization. He likes the city. I'm sure they like him. He has a great sort of fun attitude that you can't really replace. But the issue for the team is, yeah, how does a Rasmus Anderson age? And let's say the Flames do get his aim correct and then get a couple other guys coming in 2 to 3 or 5 years.
Yeah.
That's when they start to become a contender. 5 years from now, what does Rasmus Anderson look like? And are they paying him $8 million? That's a risk.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And look, Jacob Chikrin's not the same player as Rasmus Anderson. They have different strengths and weaknesses. He's 2 years younger and a year sooner to free agency, and he just locked in at 9 a year.
Right.
And that's not a great defender. That's a guy that's got some nice tools. I don't know that Rasmus's camp wouldn't ask for that. I don't know if they're going to get it, but shit, you got one shot at free agency here with max term.
If I'm his agent, that's where I start.
Why not? Right? Yeah. I mean, all they can do is say no. So I don't know that it's a deal that's going to age well, but I also understand the whole look. We're in a window with this goalie. I imagine they'll flop an 8-year deal on the table for Wolf this summer. I don't know what his tact will be, but the Flames have to try to lock him in. They've got 1 year left before Arbright's next summer. It might be very expensive, but it's the hardest piece of the puzzle to find.
Yeah, I mean, this goalie comes along for this franchise once every 40 years, roughly.
Yeah, I mean, Vernon Kipper, you hope he's the third that'll go up to the rafters.
Yeah, and they didn't draft and develop Kiprusoff. They happened upon him luckily. So
yeah, I think Daryl knew him.
26.
Daryl didn't think he was going to win a vest.
No, that was total luck, right? So and there's no reason to think this season's a fluke, right? There's sometimes you have a kid come in, have a good season, you're like, okay, well, let's see what we have. But Wolf is the most decorated, highly thought of prospect here since, Johnny Gaudreau went out and won the Hobie Baker, right?
Sure.
When he arrived in Calgary, given his resume, it's like, this guy's a star. He's definitely going to be a star. And then he had his first season. It's like, yep.
Goalie of the league, goalie of the year in the dub, goalie of the year in the dub, goalie of the year in the A is a rookie, goalie in the year and goalie of the year and AHL MVP is second year in the league. Like this isn't Joey Decord coming out of nowhere. This isn't the Hamburglar. Right. This isn't Anthony Stolarz, a late bloomer getting to start in Toronto. This is a legitimate top prospect from his teens, finally getting a chance to prove it at the highest level. And again, looking like an elite goaltender. Yeah,
just persistent dominance for years. If you look at his hockey DB page and just look at his save percentage column, it's like, holy cow. Yeah, so this is, lock him up, figure out the rest.
Let's do this. We will tell you about what is coming up for the Calgary Flames. It is the road ahead. We do that for Platinum Mitsubishi. A reminder, it's your destination for the upgraded 2025 Outlander, the refreshed flagship 7-seater from Mitsubishi Motors. The 2025 Outlander features first ever vehicle audio system provided by industry leaders at Yamaha. Doesn't matter what model, it's all going to be Yamaha. And now also the only vehicle offered by mainstream manufacturer to include brand name audio from the base model all the way up. As I was noting, other features, the brown leather seats, the vented seats. You love that. 12.3-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple Play, and Android Auto. Check them out. You can find them at 2720 Barlow Trail in the Northeast here in Calgary. Locally owned and operated. You'll love to see that. Road ahead for the Flames. It's simple. One more on the homestand. It's Dallas Thursday night. Stars are a wagon. Will not be easy. And then a pretty nightmarish 3-game and 4-night road trip that sees them in Edmonton Saturday night, Colorado on Monday, and then a quick turnaround to play the Utah Hockey Club on Tuesday night. I don't know where Utah will be at that point. They suffered a miserable loss. I believe it was last night to the Red Wings, along 5 on less than 15 shots. But either way, you look at Stars, Oilers, Avs, Utah, 3 cup contenders, and one team that theoretically is playing for their lives. That's a tough stretch for the Flames away from the Dome after they finish with Dallas on Thursday.
Yeah, that's that might depend their fate, or that might do them in,
Determine.
right? If they
Yeah.
can't determine their fate, that's right after if the 3 games go poorly. I mean, right now they're in tough, and the only reason they're really into it is because they have, what, 3 games in hand on the Blues?
Still 3 games in hand on the Blues, who refuse to lose and have won 7 in a row, including beating the doors off the Habs tonight, who came into the action holding the second wild card in the Eastern Conference. Right. Like, that's a team playing for their lives, and the Blues just decimated them. Dylan Holloway's been sensational. Philip Broberg, 3-point night tonight.
That's right.
Cam Fowler, brought in midseason, has been very good for them. They didn't trade Braden Shen. He's been instrumental. Rob Thomas, Jordan Kyrou have come to life. It's there's the Blues. Good 6-1 final. That's the only reason the Flames aren't trying to put space between them and teams chasing. It's a red hot Blues club that under Jim Montgomery has just been outchancing and now finally outscoring opponents. And Holloway over a point per game since Montgomery took over. Unbelievable stuff. You hate to see it in Edmonton, but good Calgary boys screwing the Oilers. You love it, Kent. Get a jersey.
All the players they got rid of in the summer, being the Oilers, are having a great season, which is fantastic.
Fogle, McLeod, Broberg, Holloway. Am I missing anyone? Yeah.
So that's it.
CC apparently has been fine in Dallas since he got there.
Yeah.
But, well, I'm sure they've got lots of very experienced people in the GM chair over the last 20 years. There's no reason they wouldn't have many cups by now anyway. Let's move along. We'll tell you about what style of beer do you have going tonight? Because I do see you operating there on a lovely glass. Oh, you've got the innocent. All right. Well, if you're not going to travel over to Scotland, where I believe that's brewed, or is it Ireland? You can definitely stop by the Origin Brewing Tap Room in the Northeast, or head over to Strathmore. You want to talk about 5th generation farmers, best barley in the world, makes the best malt in the world, makes the best beer's damn good. We know that. Good inputs, good beer. Well, we're brewing our Afterburner Pale Ale. You can see the pictures of that on your screen. Also, of course, the Barn Burner Blonde. It's been around for a year and a half. Our Pale Ale is the newcomer. And there's the website. Head to it for more information, nice. originbrewing.ca. You can browse through the selection. There's beers for all types. If you normally drink the macros, there's lots of awesome, delicious beers that aren't going to scare you. If you like the hoppier brews, they got a ton of those. Some great IPAs, hazy pale ales. Mexican's actually sneaky, awesome summer beer. And if you like supporting the Sutter Fund in Central Alberta, they got the Sutter beer as well. The 6 Sutter Shooters, American Lager. Big shout out to Origin. We're going to have some events coming up at their Calgary tap room in the Northeast coming up soon. More information at originbrewing.ca. And again, the address in the Northeast, you want to make sure you get this right, 943 28th Street Northeast. It's a good little place.
I got to start trying some of these.
Yes. Now, you're outside of the city. Are you southeast of the city? Are you east of the city? Where are you?
Yeah, east in Langdon.
This is perfect. You just right in.
Mm-hmm.
Northeast. It's right there.
Yep.
Get yourself tell them Pinder sent you, and then duck, because someone will swing at you. That's a few nights there. Let's look at the updated standings after tonight's action. We showed you the Blues won. Did you see last night Vancouver scores with less than a minute left, then win in a shootout? It has been sensational scoreboard watching. My kid is 9.5. He's always been big into numbers and loves hockey, but it's his first playoff chase. And he wakes up in the morning. He's like, Dad, can you pull up the stands? Can I watch highlights? What happened in the Blues game? Dad, Vancouver was losing when I went to bed. What happened? Like he's totally into it. It has been a really fun, busy stretch out of Four Nations, but there it is. 4 back of the Blues, 3 games in hand. Gosh, the more I look at the remaining dozen games, the more I think about April 17th, the last day of the regular season, a fire postponed game rescheduled between the Kings and Flames in LA. At this point, it feels like something's going to be up for grabs, whether that's LA's seating in the Pacific or the Flames in and out. It's been just sensational hockey here the last few weeks.
Yeah, it's definitely going to come down to the wire, I think, here, given. And even with Vancouver's kind of turning stuff around, they look like they're going to fall out of the race for a while there, but they've started winning too. So it might actually be a 3-horse race. Yeah,
and Elias Pettersson got it going now. He's hurt.
He did.
Quinn Hughes is hurt now. He's back. He looks like an absolute mega stud. He played 15 minutes plus in third period and overtime last night. Like, they're just riding them every other shift. Get back out there, Quinn. And all of a sudden, look at the Minnesota Wild. They're only 6 up on the Flames, and you've got 2 games in hand. Maybe you don't catch the Blues, Kent, but maybe you still get in. They're without Kaprizov. Gustafson's been great, but they're not 100%. They're missing Joel Eriksson Ek as well. It's 2 of their more important forwards.
Yeah, it's maybe Utah turns it around too. So
I thought they were gone. I thought the Minnesota was in. They've come right back to the pack.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the Flames can, I don't think they're going to keep winning 4 games in a row like this, but they got to keep, being as competitive as possible. If they can keep doing this level of hockey, they're in it. It's going to be a photo finish.
Just looking at the standings there, 2 left with Anaheim, 2 left with the Sharks, 2 left with Vegas. That's half of their dozen remaining. We told you about the others: 1 against Dallas, 1 against Edmonton, 1 Colorado, 1 Utah. And they get Minnesota actually on a Friday night here at home before the end of the year, and the Kings to wrap it. It's going to be great to the finish. 2 Sharks in there. I don't know if I mentioned that. 2 with San Jose. Edmonton is Saturday night. It's a late game. I believe you got the In the Dome Cowboys getting on, cursing like sailors. They love the Oilers, so they'll be fired up for that one. And we'll be at Richmond's Pub in the heart of Glamorgan, don't you know, for a watch party. Last Battle of Alberta of the year. Get there whenever you want. Puck drops at 8. It's going to be busy. If you're like, I'm going to go, I'll just wheel in. Maybe give them a call ahead of time, because I've had a lot of people reaching out and say, see you Saturday. I'm going to see you Saturday. I'm going to see you on Saturday. When we booked this thing, we figured it would be a pretty meaningless, let's just get some friends together kind of thing. This is a huge game. This is coming up 4 nights from now. Wednesday, Thursday, yeah. Like, make sure you get there and get a seat. Our pals at Fountain Tire helping present this watch party, as well as McLeod Law. And they, of course, are supporting One Broken Biker, a great cause, supporting motorcyclists that have been injured. Also, all these One Broken Biker events, there's draw. You can enter to win a Harley. Every year they give away a couple incredible bikes. So don't miss it. A lot of good reasons to be there. Barnburner Blonde hockey game, win a bike, great food, bunch of jerks that do a podcast. Pick whatever you like, combination. We'll see you there Saturday night at Richmond's Pub, I believe 37th and Richmond Road, Southwest. If that helps you, Kent.
It does.
You just put it in the Uber. They'll take you there. That's fine. Very good. So that is a lot of, I guess, the topics on tonight's show. I do want to get in some questions. Jack, what have you got from what's the vibe from the comments tonight? I see a lot of Kadri defense, and rightfully so. He's 2 away from 30. He's had a great season, and he's proven to be an integral piece of this club. How are people enjoying tonight's show with the comments and questions?
Lots of happy campers in the chat tonight. Some beefing as well. We got a couple super chats. I start some questions. What do you want to get to?
Let's do super chats right now, and then we'll come back with our bet. We'll tell you what to do if you need to buy or sell a home, and we'll sneak attack Kent with see how much of a sugar tooth he's got.
Beauty. Oh, let's go.
Super chats in support of the Youth Centers of Calgary. A couple locations in Calgary, doing great work. You need to help me with the acronyms here. TWF. PW.
You're younger than I am.
I'm talking to Jack. We're screwed.
No idea. TWF.
Totally white Ferrari, pink. Yeah, not on that. Hubie's a baller, shooting, poke checking. He's been really good. We talk about the Kadri resurgence. That it only might be overshadowed by one guy.
Thank God
that is
Pike.
the Huberto resurgence. Say that again. Sorry, Jack.
I just said thank God for Pike. 2-way forward, power forward.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And he is. The defensive side of the puck has been very good since Huska got his claws into him. And now we're seeing the offense come back, not to, 115 point levels, which we'll never see again, but he's going to clear 60. He's at 57-ish after tonight, I want to say. I'll look at the box score. Thoughts on the Hubie turnaround?
There's just a lot less BS in his game. You know what I mean? Like when he first started here, there was a lot of spinoramas and a lot of backhand passes for no reason to nobody, and it was just like he's trying to. It looked like he was trying to be in the Ice Capades, and it's just like, yeah, we don't. That's not going to work here. I'm sorry. I'm sure Daryl told him that a couple of times in different tones, but it's he's still making skilled plays, but they're not stupid. Like he's toned his game down, he's refined it, and it's just a little bit more straight ahead, but he's still getting points, right?
Good question from Ken there. To flag that, we'll touch it later. Well, okay, we'll do it now. Can you guys explain the tiebreaker situation? So regulation wins is the first tiebreak. Flames are in really good spot compared to St. Louis on that. I haven't looked against Vancouver or Minnesota of late, but with 3 games in hand, they're 1 back on regulation wins. So you're going to need to win those games in hand, and you'll have them in regulation wins, I imagine. 1 back with 3 games in hand. So if you're going to be close on points, you probably got that tie break. After that, it goes to regulation and overtime wins, basically just deleting shootout wins. Yeah, I'm not terribly worried about the tiebreakers at this point. I was going to say, Huberdeau's biggest turnaround, I totally agree with everything you said there. He rips that winner on Long Island where it just pops out to him and he just rips one. Last year, he tries to pass that.
Yeah,
like it's just, I'll fake it and then I'll throw. Oh, no. Like he's just so much more straight line and he still can pass the puck, but he's not getting too cute. It's none of this neutral zone, cross the ice, backhand saucer nonsense. It's been very direct, and you notice him a ton. I know last year he had 1 point in December. I continue to bring it up. You could not notice him. You would have needed like a telestrator and one of those little bubbles they have on highlight packs to show the guy moving around the ice to find him. And he's just been excellent. So much better in all 3 zones this year.
Yeah, and they're not, they're putting him in a position to succeed, right? Like playing him with Coleman and Backlund in a role that he is not fit with guys who are not snipers.
Right.
They're fit. Backlund's known as a fixer on the team because he can basically play with anyone. But that's not a role for Jonathan Huberdeau, right? To be actually successful. This year they've put him with skill. They've given him more ozone draws. Lots of power play time. That's a Huberdeau role.
And very good. Other questions, Jack? Let's fire a few out there. Oh, yes, super chat, $4.99. Thank you, William. Should I get a Pospisil, Wolf, or Hubie Blasty jersey? Or are we saying the Blasty or the red? Okay, so if we're only picking one, that's interesting. I like guys that have term that are young and getting better. It's Wolf in a landslide for me and for anyone on the team. I do believe they'll lock him up this summer. You could wait if you're very, very conservative with your purchases. Coronato and Zeri also need deals. And I like the Wolf in the Blasty looks good to me.
Wolf in red.
Like Wolf in red? Very good. Yeah. I'll accept that answer as well. Weeks is going to be here a while, and I think he's probably your next captain when Backlund retires. So that'd be another option for you. Big fat guy, $2 is Edmonton looking at St. Louis fast approaching. No, they're not, because Edmonton plays in the Pacific Division, St. Louis in the Central. If they meet St. Louis in the playoffs, it's going to have to be, I guess Edmonton either wins the Pacific or it's the Western Conference Final, because no one's going to catch Winnipeg. I think they probably have Minnesota's attention. Colorado's really on a nice roll after the trade deadline acquisitions. Brock Nelson, amongst many other ads. I think for them to get up to wildcard 1 wouldn't be stunning. And beyond that, I just don't know how much further up they can move because Colorado and Dallas are so good. Those are 2-3 in the Central.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be too much movement aside from the sort of the block that we looked at in the standings there.
Yeah, fair. It does feel like Dallas, Colorado collision course round 1, which makes some people angry. I love it. That is going to be such a good series. And I don't know if you saw the other scoreboard tonight, but Toronto, Ottawa is not far off either.
Oh, sweet. Good.
Which is always like, do you remember? Of course you remember. 2002, we had the Flames Oilers. But it had been so long, like since the 90s, since we had a Battle of Alberta, something crazy like that. And it feels like it's not quite as long, but God, there's some incredible series between Ottawa and Toronto. The fans will travel. They absolutely hate each other. You got Kachuk as on an underdog. Like,
oh, that's right.
Stick it in my veins. It also means we'd have the Battle of Florida if that happens, because that would leave the Panthers and Lightning in the 2-3, which I think is one of the best rivalries in the sport. They bleeping hate each other.
Bring it on. I want to see all of it. I mean, honestly, with the playoffs, usually round one is some of the best hockey, to tell you the truth.
It really is. Yeah. It turns into a war of attrition, rounds 3 and 4, especially.
Yeah.
And round 2 can be good, but there's just so much hockey. If there is a series that's a dud, you don't have to see a moment of it. You just we're over here. Oh, this game's in overtime. Got to jump over here. Oh, this is an overtime too. I need a second screen. I can't wait. April 19th is a Saturday. That was the date Gary Bettman told reporters at the Board of Governors or GM meetings, whatever the hell it was in Florida last week, that the playoffs will start. Season finale, April 17th. Again, Flames and Kings, seemingly huge, potentially huge on that date.
Yep.
Other comments, questions, Jack? Let's keep them rolling.
We'll do one more.
Okay. Question. Are the lines finally settled outside for Backlund coming back as the team fights for the playoffs late in the season? I mean, they are till they aren't. The lines were settled, and then they went to Toronto and got their asses kicked, and they had to shuffle some things around. Although I guess it was the Backlund injury that predated that really, that and the Zeri suspension threw everything in array. But I'm not touching the top 6 right now. I love what Frost has looked like between Huberdeau and Coronato. I really like Nazem, Pospisil, and Zeri. The question will be, when Backlund comes back, it's going to be Coleman and probably Farabee. Who goes to the fourth line and who are they punting out? Is it Sharon Govich down and you lose Klapka? Is it Sharon Govich staying with theoretically Backlund and Coleman and Farabee going to the fourth line? Is Klapka out for sure? Could Sharon Govich be your fourth line center? I'm leaving the top 6 alone as long as they're playing well. And if Backlund returns, it's really more of a question about the fourth line, isn't it?
It's almost more of a question of, does Sharon Govich get scratched at this point? Because I was last time I was on with Cammie, we were talking about this. Looks a lot like his last season in New Jersey, where the scoring dried up. He couldn't really do anything else in the roster. They healthy scratched him by the end of the year in the playoffs. So it's really reminiscent of that.
His new deal kicks in next year. 5 years? Oof.
Yeah.
I said it the other day.
Maybe he's one of these players.
there's got to be some middle ground here. We can't just have the 30 goals, 10 goals, 30 goals, 10 goals. Like, how about just a nice, easy 22, Igor? If you do that? Because there's some tools there. He can fly, he can shoot it.
Yeah, he can really skate and he can shoot, but it's just been a brutal struggle this year for that player.
Yeah, really has. Now, listen, we want our Igor to stay in town, but let's say, hey, if Gretzky can get traded, anyone can. Maybe he needs to sell his home, Kent. I'm going to tell him to give Derek Newman, our pal with the Derek Newman Group with CIR Realty, give him a call, 403-619-6661. Igor, we loved you here. Derek's going to get you a great number for your home. Don't worry about it. He'll even offer you complimentary in-home staging consultation. He's going to look what's going on around the market, a comprehensive analysis of what's happening, Igor. Or maybe Igor is playing so well down the stretch. I'm staying here. I'm going to buy a bigger home. Don't worry. Derek can do that too. Buying or selling. He's going to help you on both. Also has had the ability to find homes off the market, get things before they get to market. And great network, great guy, huge Flames fan. If you're interested in buying or selling in the greater Calgary area, call Derek Newman, 403-619-6661. That is dnewman@cirrealty.ca is the email. The Derek Newman Group with CIR Realty. Let Derek put his network to work for you, Igor, or anyone else, I suppose. If you're just watching, you're not Igor, all of the same things apply. Don't know if you caught that.
Well, once that new deal kicks in, he will be able to get a bigger home.
He will be in the market for a bigger home somewhere.
Even hopefully, if he's, wherever he is.
And Derek's and his, it's Calgary because things are going well. Thanks to Derek for being involved on Afterburner. Standings we've shown you. Schedule ahead we've shown you. We will get some bets for tomorrow's action to look at. Why don't we do that now, as most of the action's wrapped up in the NHL? It looked like Rangers-Kings was the only late game. We'll see if we can't get you an update there.
Yeah.
Man, there's been some really good nights of hockey tonight. Just if you missed it, Leafs throttle the Flyers. Tortorella post-game saying, this is probably on me. I'm not prepared to be able to coach a team in this spot. I don't know what to do. You don't see a lot of it's a contrition. Is that the word?
Coaches doing this, like,
yeah, it's
I don't know.
the verbose version of throwing his hands up.
Yep.
No idea.
Yep.
Nashville stunned Carolina with a 3-1 win, and the Kings, look at that, third period. Who scored the goals, Jack? Tell me you got a Quentin Byfield in there. He's been red hot. Need him in fantasy playoffs, fantasy. Vegas Golden Knights got Shea Theodore back. That's huge for them. They're in first in the Pacific. They beat the Wild 5-1. Yeah, Blues 6-1 winners over the Habs. Jets saw Ovi and the Caps. We've got a highlight from this one. Let's go to Manitoba. It's Manitoba in March. Beautiful.
Morrissey retreats. Van Riemsdyk is still up in the play. Lost his hockey stick. Nice pass. Ovechkin scores!
Yep.
Alex Ovechkin!
I feel like I've seen that one before, Kent. Got to be honest. That is
100 times.
Left circle, right shot, zing, and
right through him.
Finds a hole in the best goalie in the world. That's only over.
What he does.
It's unbelievable. 6 to beat Gretzky. Huh. That would tie the game late. In overtime, Nikolai Ehlers with the winner. Jets clinch a playoff spot. Interestingly, these two teams, the first two to clinch, the top seeds in the East and the West, and not really getting a lot of love from the books. Everyone loves the Floridas and the Edmontons and Vegas and Colorado and Dallas. Yeah, I guess Washington, Winnipeg could be okay.
Everyone's just used to Winnipeg not doing anything in the playoffs. So they got to prove everyone wrong, right?
People think the bubble's going to burst with Washington too, but the more I watch them, it's like, damn, they made a lot of really good bets this summer.
I do not understand how they turned it around on a dime like that. Like, they looked like they were in a terminal decline, and then all of a sudden, yeah, we're great again.
Yeah, you lose Backstrom and Kuznetsov, your top two centers.
Yeah.
Ovi looks like he's fallen off a cliff last year. We had like 4 or 5 goals, single digits at Christmas time.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, they're cooked. Charlie Lindgren, of all people, gets on a heater. They get in with a horrendous goal differential in the East, gets swept by the Rangers, and you're like, okay, that was a cool story. They're out next year. Chikrin, huge win in trade. Mangiapane, been a nice piece for them. Matt Roy, excellent piece. Pierre-Luc Dubois, they bought when no one wanted to buy.
No one.
And now you're seeing
turned around.
McMichael, Protus, Sandin they got on the cheap a couple of years ago at the deadline. This is a really smart management team. They've hired really good coaches. Carberry, the head coach of the Stockton Heat a few years ago, his name's just completely flying out of my brain. Mitch Love, he was a candidate when Husky got the job here. He's gone over, and I know people speaking highly of some of the things they're doing to create offense that are avant-garde or at least new age. It's a good team, and they bring in Logan Thompson, who's been awesome. The tandem's been great.
And Ovechkin's kind of rebounded somehow too, right? So it's just, every bet they placed kind of paid off. So good for them.
Russian machine never break. We do have a couple other things to get to. I wanted to finish the scoreboard. This is my brain. I just start stuff and run to other stuff before I'm done. Colorado 5-2 winners over the Avs. Wings just an awful, awful death spiral here. They were in a playoff spot a month ago. O'Connor, the Calgarian. McCarr with one helper, it looks like. McKinnon as well. Yeah, they're good. Good hockey team. Who knew? Avalanche.
What do you think happens in Detroit? Because that plan has gone right off the rails, whatever they were trying to do.
Oh, I think there's enough cachet, and they were relevant enough for long enough this year that nothing drastic. I mean, when you look at their numbers since they changed coaches, they've been much better. I think at one point around the Four Nations, Todd McClellan, when he took over, they had the best record in the league. Now, that's kind of faded clearly, but I think what you sell is, hey, we'll have Todd for a full year, and we're going to be implementing his system at camp. But yeah, it's not an overwhelming roster, is it?
I don't think that's enough. Yeah. It's just.
And so they're one game the wrong way in games played and 3 points out. Not dead, but that they were in one of those wild cards not long ago.
Yeah, and they're not having it. They've gotten better, but they're not having like a 60 expected goal for run over the last 20 games. They're not overwhelmingly like these guys have turned it around. They're just better than terrible, which is what they were to start the year, right? So it's just like, yeah, they're kind of stuck in a sort of mediocre path. I don't know which way or how they sort of get off of it, right?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's not. You thought they were going to have a turnaround by now. They have not. Update, 10.5 minutes left in LA. Kings up 2-1 on the Rangers. JT Miller's up to 18 on the year. Fiala and Danault, the goal scorers for the Kings. Both those goals from the Kings coming on the power play. Tomorrow's action, we look at that for our friends at Bet365. Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win is a barn burner. Every face-off, hat trick, power play, shot on goal, penalty shot, and even every suspenseful minute in between is amazing. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, an official partner of the NHL. Download the Bet365 app and use the code NATION to get in the game. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. There's your slate tomorrow. Devils, it's been a rough go for Jacob Markstrom. It feels like he's lost his crease to Jake Allen here after the Four Nations. They're without Hamilton, the smaller but better of the Hugheses at this point, and Jonas Siegenthaler, who's been an important piece on their blue line, playing over 19 minutes a night. Limping, but they get the Blackhawks, hence the heavy favorites. Canucks, Islanders, huge game for both teams. Islanders are alive in the Eastern wildcard, especially with the Habs lost tonight. Canucks trying to stay in the chase in the West. That feels like must win for them there too. Bruins, horrible lost season. I was joking, Kent. Whoever their pro scout covering Western Canada is needs to be fired. Did they see Lindholm and Zadorov in Calgary and Vancouver?
Yeah, that's been a rough go for the Bruins this year.
Real rough. They're in Anaheim where the Ducks, bit of a tricky nut these days. Some of the young players are starting to arrive. Leo Carlson, Mason McTavish, this Jackson Lacombe on the back end, Pavel Minchikov, Olin Zellweger, Dostal in net. Flames are going to find out a lot about them. 2 left against the Ducks this season, and the Ducks favored at home. Wow. And the Stars, the only good news for the Flames while playing the Stars on Thursday is that they're playing in Edmonton on a Wednesday. It'll be the second half of a back-to-back for Dallas because they face the Draisaitl-McDavid-less Oilers tomorrow night. And it is the Stars favored on the road. Those numbers make sense when you remember McDavid and Draisaitl ruled out for all 3 games this week.
Yeah, both legs of a 2-legged stool are gone, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, what's the 2-legged stool? I think it's called a ladder, Kent. That's what it is. They're not that bad, but I think the problem Oilers fans have with their team is they might not be that good either. You got $70 million not spent on McDavid or Draisaitl left. They eked one out over Seattle on Saturday. We'll see. There's some room to improve. Kane will be coming back. Trent Frederick coming back. The 2 big guns. Should be some urgency on that lineup. Dustin Wolf, I believe his home record improves to 16-7-3 this year with tonight's win. That's good. He was a 923 before tonight's game at home. And another note I had, the lucky tie, 4 wins in a row for Ryan Huska with the black tie with the red diagonal stripes.
Yeah, that's not going anywhere.
Put it on at MSG, kept it at the Rock Prudential Center in Newark. Wore it again, UBS Arena on Long Island. Wore it again tonight. Screw the laundry. Tell your dry cleaner to screw off. We got a lucky tie to deal with. Not since the highway tie of Daryl Sutter in 2004 have I been so excited to see a tie, Kent.
Yeah, really, it doesn't come down to strategy or tactics or anything. It's just the right clothes.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'd like to find the line on Bet365 of which tie Ryan Huska will wear on Thursday night. I believe it's the Red stripe tie, minus 10,000. Those are your odds.
Good bet. Yeah.
They do have a vast range of markets. I haven't found those ones exactly yet. And finally, to end the show tonight, Kent, I need to know where you're at on our candy bracket as we have moved into the Elite Eight and voting is open until Friday at 11 a.m. We started with 2 play-in games. 18 candies, only one will be crowned king. The 2 play-in winners were seeded 16 and 15. The first round, all the favorites moved on. Cola bottles, nibs, Swedish berries, Skittles, fuzzy peaches, sour soothers, gummy bears, and Sour Patch Kids. Tell us about who you're voting for in the Elite Eight.
All right. Cola bottles for sure.
Okay.
Skittles because of Johnny Gaudreau, and I like Skittles. Sour Patch and fuzzy peaches.
Wow. I think those are all Jack's picks as well. Am I right, Jack?
There we go.
Yeah, all the same.
And I think I might have given the nod to the Soothers. I was a real tough one between the fuzzy peaches and the Soothers, but I'm with you guys with the kids, the Skittles, and the cola bottles. Can't wait. Get your votes up and in, FlamesNation.ca. Esteemed author and literary genius Jack Haverstock, as he call him up, that he AI'd, hence the perfect punctuation and no spelling errors. There's a link to voting there. How are the votes coming in so far, Jack? We got some close matchups?
Yeah, 3 really close ones.
Ooh.
One's a bit of a blowout.
Okay, I like that. Doogie is in the chat. He's asking what Australian candies I've had. There's a kangaroo one that's got chocolate.
Of course there is. Koala? Wallaby?
Caramel koalas. Caramel koalas. I'm not much of a sweet tooth, but my wife is a huge one. So she's always stuffing the suitcase with candies coming home. And we always, whether it's baseball season or hockey season, everyone on the team gets an Australian candy from the boys. So the caramel koalas are a big hit. That's the one, not kangaroos at all. So another super chat come in. Let's get to that. This is from Willie. Possible's going to get 15 or 20 in the next several years. For the next several years? Okay. Grit physicality hits will be big come playoffs. He's built for, but that is true. I'm not going to go ahead and put it in ink that he's getting 15 to 20 every year for the next few years. It could happen, especially when you saw him come up last year. There was that nice little spark offensively. But I think he does fall down the depth chart the deeper this team gets. But I will say he is a guy I want to see in a playoff series. Absolutely. Skates like the wind, runs into everything, muck, spraying goalies, sticking people. There's some stink to his game.
I'd really like to see him play with Backlund and Coleman at some point and just watch that trio get all the defensive zone starts and make everyone's lives miserable on the other team, right?
The other thing that I've been thinking about, he's probably a super fourth liner, like only on really good teams that he play on the fourth line. But you get him and Lomberg, and I'm trying to remember who they had down the middle, but it was someone that was a pain in the ass at some point this year. And you're like, oh yeah, that's
Kirkland.
Yeah, it was Kirkland, and you're like, there's some pain in the ass players here.
Yep.
But you're right. Like the back line's a good spot for him. Would you be comfy putting Farabee up with Nazem and Zeri, or I don't know. I've heard a lot of different things about Farabee. I don't think we've seen him yet. I feel like we just saw Frost since the Backlund injury in terms of settling in and the body of work in the same spot, getting a little more ice time. I really like him in the zone entries on the power play. I mentioned that already. Like that's something this team struggled with a lot. Frost's really good at it.
Yeah, it always depends on how it actually comes out. You put stuff together and you see if it works.
Yeah.
For me, it would be a very hard minute, almost all defensive zone trio to let everyone else get easier minutes in the rotation, right? So it's just something I'd like to see it at some point while he's here. Yeah.
The penchant for penalties can get a little alarming. It's sort of like Bennett-esque in a way, but when he's right,
he's getting better, but yeah he's always going to ride the edge a little bit, right?
Totally.
He has
to walk that line. Okay, last call for comments.
Nothing.
Nada. It's a good hour and 3 minutes. Kent, great seeing you.
Did you want to show these records quick? The Afterburner.
Yeah, let's do this. Okay, this was funny. I mentioned that I was going to say this, and then I didn't. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it.
Let's do it.
Scatterbrain. I don't know. Rhett has CTE, but I have ADHD. There's all the different acronyms. Here are the winning percentages. We don't do the overtime points because screw the loser points. Let's just see about winning. Afterburner shows this year. Boomer, 9 wins in 16 games. God, I swear they were winless the way he talks about doing this show, eh, Jack? Just fucking miserable. 56% is pretty good. My number gets bumped up to 50% tonight because they did win, and this would be my 16th game and 8th win. Cammy, whoa! Afterburner blonde.
She has to do all of them now.
She's almost cruising at 60%. Really good. Yep. Gold. Yeah. He's a win away from 500. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then we'll slide to the next column. The In the Dome boys, God, they love being miserable and cursing. They're around 1 and 3. That's no fun. They get a lot of Saturday nights too. We load them up the Saturdays, and we know they're extra bombed and angry. Kent's above 500, 9 for 17 after tonight.
Pike,
Pike, boy. I feel for you, buddy. I really do. You know why Pike's so tough? He only does the road games. I think we might have got him once from the Dome this year because he's always at the Dome for home games, and this team just hasn't been that good on the road. Right. It's not your fault, Ryan. It's not. Pike, we love you. We've heard about your wrench, and 40%. It's not your fault. It's the road. You look at the wrench right next to his name.
Rhett.
And Rhett. How is the question? Well, you got to eat a lot of food. You got to be at Richmond's, and you got to really not watch the game. That's how he did it, folks. It was Columbus, Calgary. It was Calgary and Montreal with the Coronato and Wolf overtime victory. Wolf was great. Coronato scored to tie and then to win it 7 seconds into overtime. And then the game that Zeri got hurt against Anaheim on Jan 7th. Flames, I believe, needed overtime in that or a shootout or something, but they found a way to win. Rhett batting 1,000, 3 for 3 on Afterburner.
See if he'll do more of them.
Cammy and Rhett, playoff edition. Got to play your shorten the bench here as we get down the stretch.
Yeah.
Thanks to everyone that's joined us tonight. Thanks to all of our sponsors, Bet365, Derek Newman Group of CIR Realty, Platinum Mitsubishi, Origin Brewing and Malting, not to mention Richmond's Pub, and to our fine producer, Jack, for Kent Wilson. My name's Ryan Pinder. It's been fun, meaningful hockey. End of March, heading into April. I'm off skiing with the crew for a couple days. Barnburn will be its regularly scheduled show. And I'll be back on Friday. Thursday night, I believe we got the Boomcat coming in. So that statistically lines up nicely for the Flames against the Dallas Stars in their second half of a back-to-back. Thanks for being with us. See you, buddies.